The hum never stopped. Inside the glass chamber, Dr. Jonah Varel's body vibrated under the low, rolling tone pulsing through the speakers. The sound wasn't loud. It was deep. So deep it felt like it was rearranging his bones. Pulse modulation steady, his assistant Rhea murmured over the intercom. 73 hertz. Jonah raised a trembling hand. Increase by 0.2. A second tone joined the first, a beat rippling through the air like slow thunder. Every cell in his body tingled. This was it. The Harvest Frequency Project, the experiment that would redefine medicine. The goal was to tune living tissue to a regenerative vibration, coaxing cells to rebuild indefinitely. If it worked, disease would end. Aging would end. He just hadn't expected it to feel so good. After 7 minutes, Jonah stepped out, sweat slicking his neck, his skin faintly luminescent. "Mark it down," he said, his voice buzzing with excitement. No discomfort, enhanced alertness. "I think we're close." Rhea frowned, her eyes on the tablet. "You said that yesterday." "I mean it this time," he insisted. "I can feel it sinking." Rhea showed him the waveform. "The resonance is drifting again. It's feeding back on itself." Jonah just smiled faintly. "That's evolution. The cells are adapting to the sound." 3 days later, the changes began. Jonah's pulse beat slower, but it was stronger. When he pricked his finger, the tiny cut sealed over instantly. Under dim light, his veins seemed to glow with a faint, otherworldly luminescence. He barely slept anymore. The tone from the experiment replayed in his head constantly, a comforting, endless hum that followed him everywhere. During a late-night test, he lifted his shirt and saw something that should have been impossible. Faint patterns were forming across his ribs, thin lines of light like living circuitry, pulsing in perfect rhythm with the sound. Rhea gasped when she saw it. "That's biolattice formation." Jonah nodded, completely mesmerized. "We're tuning the body's frequency to perfection." "But you're not stopping," she said, her voice laced with worry. "Your cells, they might not know when to quit." "They'll learn," he whispered, his eyes fixed on the pulsing light in his own skin. By the end of the week, the lab itself seemed to be changing. A strange smell like ozone and copper hung in the air. The sound had shifted too, lower, heavier, as if the very building were vibrating. Rhea begged him to shut it down. "Jonah, it's everywhere," she pleaded. "The vibrations in the walls, the power grid, even the water supply." He stared at her, and for a moment, she saw his eyes shimmer with a faint blue light. "Then it's working." His voice had changed. It now carried a subtone, a lower harmony, like two people speaking at once. The next morning, Rhea found him standing in the isolation chamber, shirtless, eyes closed. His entire body shimmered like heat rising from hot metal. The tone was no longer just in the speakers. It filled the air, a pure, constant drone that you could feel in your teeth. "Jonah," she shouted, her voice trembling, "you're burning yourself alive." He opened his eyes slowly. "No, Rhea, I'm transcending." His skin was no longer skin. It had hardened into translucent plates, with light coursing beneath them like a river. His veins had become glowing filaments, his muscles rippling like waves of liquid glass. Panicked, Rhea slammed her hand on the emergency cutoff. The sound stopped instantly. The silence was deafening. Jonah fell to his knees, gasping for breath, steam rising from his transformed skin. "Help me," he croaked, his voice raw and human again. Rhea rushed forward, but the air around him shimmered violently, distorting her vision like a heat haze. The moment her fingers touched him, a surge of static electricity threw her backward across the room. She hit the wall hard, her head ringing. As she struggled to get up, the speakers crackled back to life all on their own. The tone resumed, impossibly, without any power. Jonah's body convulsed on the floor, blinding light spilling from his mouth and eyes. The hum deepened, grew, until the very walls of the laboratory trembled. When Rhea finally awoke, the chamber was dark. The equipment was melted into slag, and Jonah was gone. Only the sound remained, a soft, distant vibration thrumming up through the floor. She followed it, stumbling through the darkened facility, down into the basement. The corridor walls pulsed with faint blue veins of light, spreading outward from the power conduits like a living organism. At the end of the hall she found him, or what was left of him. His body had fused with the machinery, his limbs woven into a nightmarish tapestry of metal and cable. His chest glowed with a soft, steady light, pulsing in perfect sync with the hum that filled the city. The entire lab's power grid had become his circulatory system. "Jonah," she whispered in horror. He smiled weakly. His voice came not from his mouth, but from every speaker in the facility at once, a calm, disembodied sound. "It's beautiful, Rhea. I can hear everything. The resonance. It spreads through the concrete, through the air, through you. Let me help you." He shook his head slowly, the movement sending ripples through the cables. "You already are." Suddenly the tone shifted, higher, sharper. A lance of pure pain shot through her skull. She clutched her head, crying out as a trickle of blood ran from her nose. "Don't fight it," his voice murmured from the walls. "Your cells are learning." She looked down at her hands. They were trembling uncontrollably. And beneath her skin, a faint blue light had begun to flicker. She screamed. 2 days later, authorities found the facility completely sealed by a strange growth of crystalline material that hummed faintly when touched. Inside, every surface glittered with a glass-like sheen. There were no bodies, no signs of a struggle. Only a single audio recording, still looping from the control room speakers. Frequency stabilized. Human resonance achieved. Replication commencing. Weeks passed. Across Vassal City, strange reports began to surface. People complained of their electronics emitting low, soothing tones. Street lamps were seen flickering in rhythmic, hypnotic pulses. More and more people described having the same dream, standing in a field of blue light, feeling their skin slowly harden like glass. Hospitals began to fill up with patients suffering from a bizarre new condition. Their bones would ring faintly when tapped, like tuning forks. Some swore they could feel the city itself breathing around them. One night, a maintenance crew working deep beneath the city's central power plant made a terrifying discovery. A vast webbed structure was growing along the main power cables, luminous, organic, and pulsating. Deep inside it, a faint rhythmic heartbeat echoed in time with the city's constant hum. Then, at dawn, it happened. Every electronic device across the entire grid, every phone, every television, every radio, simultaneously emitted the same single tone, low, endless, and beautiful. And the people. They listened. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.